catch hell from the same enemy. We're all in the same bag, in the same boat. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. All of them from the same enemy. The government has failed us. You can't deny that. Anytime you live in the 20th century, 1964, and you walking around here singing, "We shall overcome," the government has failed. And the white liberals, who have been posing as our friends, have failed us. And once we see that all these other sources to which we turn have failed, we stop turning to them and turn to ourselves. We need a self-help program.
That's what we need. That's what we want. That's what it is. Greetings, Hotep, Bakwaba, and bless up. And welcome back to the recovery room and the recovery zone of Racism Non-Anonymous. That is Racism Non-Anonymous, that revolutionary 12-step self-help program that has been uniquely designed with you and me, the African, in mind. Designed to support our healing and recovering from the traumatic stress of the human intentional type. And that came from this here. I'm going to let Maccabee tell you what it's about, where it came from.
Well, some people like to dismiss slavery like it was nothing. But you see, slavery, it can never be forgotten. Some people not gonna like what me say, but me I gonna say it anyway. We are gonna talk about slavery and the effects of it today. Some people just don't want to know about 400 years ago. But the thing about slavery, it's affecting people now. I tell you no lie, when I see a film about slavery, water comes to my eye. You wanna know why? Because it was me. I'm the same black man hanging in that tree, you see. They couldn't control my soul, so they had to control my body mysteriously. I has returned as the big Rasta man Maccabee. See, what about all the life that were lost? What about the black Holocaust? What about African slavery and what it's done to you and me? What about all the blood that was shed? What about the innocent dead? What about when the ship overload and it throw them overboard? Oh, I can see the effects of slavery still in the community, no identity. Suffering from amnesia, a case of lost memory, black man and woman. Can't you see your history never start on the plantation? Original man, man of creation, father of all nations. Just stay strong. Let go the brainwash mentality, no go on like no Babylonian. The road is long. You're gonna meet a lot of obstacles, now bow to the temptation. Run Satan. Tell the boy to go away. You're not in a nothing with him plan. Hold up your hand to the Almighty One. You are part of a great nation, man. What about all the mothers that cried? What about all the children that died? What about all the suicide and the pain we feel inside? What about all the shackles and chain? What about the messing up of the brain? Don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. Aided and abetted by some unscrupulous African. 100 million is the estimation that died on the crossing or the plantation with no compensation. Holocaust is a word that they use for what the Nazis did to the Jews. Compensation was never refused. Their own land they even got to choose. So what's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Is the Black Holocaust not so serious? Some people never like what they say, but me I gonna say it anyway. We are gonna talk about slavery and the effects of it today. Some people just don't want to know about 400 years ago. But the thing about slavery, it's affecting people now. What about all the lives that were lost? What about the Black Holocaust? What about African slavery and what it's done to you and me? What about all the blood that was shed? What about the innocent dead? What about when the ship overload and then throw them overboard? What about all the mothers that cry?
What about it?
What about all the children that
What?
die?
What about all the suicide and the pain we feel inside? What about it?
What about all the shackles and chains? What about the messing up of the brain? You don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. You don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name.
Say what?
You don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name.
Rasta. Yo, did I say it before? Greetings, Hotep Agwaba. Bless up. Who am I? Yes.
When Maccabees come
I
to the
am
realization that there's been an exclusion
Sis
of the mother
Abana
civilization from the
Africa.
creation
Let's see.
equation, discrimination from generation
Yes,
to
yes.
generation with no explanation.
I suppose I have to stop Maccabee altogether right there. I would love to play him on Amazon and turn the volume down. Yet I don't know if I turn the volume down while I am also speaking, how that will affect, your hearing me. So I may have another option because I like music. Music is one of the primary tools I use here in the recovery room to support my own emotional stability. Yes, music is a tool for recovery, and in particular, music is an excellent tool for healing from traumatic stress, and that's what we do here. And so I always have the music in the background. And since I'm going to be talking about some very emotionally charged shit, stress of the human intentional type, it will be important for me to have some music in my backdrop. I suppose we're gonna go to, what am I doing? I don't know how I get caught like this. There it is. I want that. I know what I want. I want that. I want that. I want that. And then I like to play Maccabee. That's a big Rasta man. He is Jamaican, from Jamaica, and in England. Many Jamaicans wound up in England because England exported them Jamaicans to England, the British Isles, to support the rebuilding of England.
Rastafari, tell them no things. Am I going like, you know why here?
Yes.
A long time Rasta
Tell them, Macca. They say, yeah, they did. Oh man, this is the thing with this technology. Come on. Yeah, it's time for a new tablet because the buttons don't work like they're supposed to. Thank you. I just need to tune it down. So as I was saying before, we're gonna play a mix because that's just one tune. Yes. That's the other thing. So some of the songs will play and they're not licensed to play. This is Kabaka Pyramid, another powerful tune, Addiction. So I was saying music is one of the tools that I use here in the recovery room, in the recovery zone of racism, non-anonymous, and or in the therapy room or coaching setting with me when I support people in their journey towards growth and change. Music is one of the things we use and we talk about. It definitely is one of my primary tools for several different reasons, and in particular, the reggae music in particular, I am more attached to these days. Yet, that's not necessarily what I came to talk about. Although, certainly, the music has supported me with my process of reclaiming my voice. And that's what tonight marks for me. It's the beginning of this journey for me to be able to reclaim my voice, to tell my story my way. Because for too long, for too long, my story has been shaped by others. And those others are family members. Yeah, but not just family, the whole up the gamut, you know, up the gamut. Next time I will work to pull the whiteboard this way, and or maybe I could just turn the computer that way. I don't know if it shows. Let's see. Let's check it out. Addiction. Yes. Gratification is instant, no matter the distance. Well, I can see you can't see that so well, so yeah, no, you cannot see that very well. It says spiritual, societal, communal, family, and individual that we are. So you can't see it all the way down, and then some you can see it, and then you can't see it. First people can see it, and now you can't see nothing. Anyway, we come from that spiritual down in this body, in this individual body, and we grow up part of a family, a community, a broader society, and when we die or we leave and we stop breathing, we return back to wherever we came from, spiritual, yeah? So we live here in the middle, family, community, and societal. We know the shit flows down. So if in your individual life you find yourself sitting in a pile of shit and in some shitty situations and experiences, you look up. You have to wonder where this shit coming from. Look up. Look up. Family, communal, societal. And when we first look up, for the record, I see myself first. I have to see myself before I see beyond myself. So, as I kind of close my eyes and breathe and kind of look up and look around to look at and figure out what happened. And I look up, the first thing I see is myself, my mind. And then I can see beyond that. That's what the work is about, staying focused there on our minds. However, that's something that slavery, if you will, certainly took from us. So today is my intent to take my voice back and for me to share my shit, my story, my way, and not based on somebody else's shit, their shit. And it's probably a third acronym for shit. Right now, I tend to use two. Stress of the human intentional type, or sugar honey iced tea. That's the shit we like. Yeah, that's the shit we want to keep. Sugar honey iced tea. That's the white, sugar coated shit. It's either white or it's brown. The shit that's brown is that stress of the human intentional type shit that comes out of a but, yes, but. You did this, you did that, you did this. Oh, good Lord. So I had a recent experience with a family member, and that is what has prompted my desire and my need to begin to document and share my story with others. For a couple different purposes also. There are a couple different reasons for me to do this. Is one, taking it back. Because as I listened to this family member earlier and I listened to their perspective of me, it's like the rifts that has happened in our families. And I'm saying our families, our being first and foremost folks of African descent, and those beyond. I know that it has happened in other families beyond us, how I'm talking about self, it's about self-help program, Racism Not Anonymous is a self-help program, so it's about starting with self first, and I start with myself, and when I look at me, last time I checked, I'm black, so I'm talking about my black self, and my black families, and, the similarities, the shared experiences, at least for those who are also from the margins of society, in the margins of society, and of course, we understand the margins being those of us who grew up in impoverished environments, economic impoverishment, and even spiritual impoverishment. Addiction was a primary go-to for many of our families, with the alcohol and partying, the drugs, and and for me, at my age, I've been here, 64 years, we're coming up on 65, so I'm closer to 65 years than I am 64. So if I make my transition before my Earth Day hits, which is on the 19th, and that would be in 15 days, 15 days. I'm 15 days shy of 65, so there's it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming for myself to reclaim my voice and to speak my truth and to share my story and to share it in a way, especially because for myself, as a widow who is childless, who has no children, did not birth children, and therefore have no one who is going to tell my story. So it's up to me to tell my story, because it's clear to me, if I leave it to them, my family members, if I leave it to them, what I heard today was like, oh, excuse my French. Hell no. What? The effects of slavery, as I see it, yeah, it's part and parcel of the effects of slavery in terms of what has happened in our families, especially since the crack epidemic hit, since our communities were cracked up, and what happened for the generation under me, the children of that crack era, the messages that they got, how they got it, and what they were supported in doing. Along with that, during the crack epidemic, the adults. Now, I'll start this and talk about my growth and my healing, and why I'm doing this. Again, it's not about blaming or sharing other people's shit, even though as I share my story, for those who have been a part of my life, your shit may show up. It's likely to show up just because of the dynamic that there's been that connection. I will work to keep them. I will work to, just for today, I will work to keep them quote unquote anonymous. And isn't it interesting that this system supports us with, and or forces us with, keeping people's shit quote unquote anonymous? Because if you tell your truth about an experience with another person or organization or group, then you can be sued for slander because you're giving it. Well, this is what they did to me. I'm just talking about what happened to me. It was just happened to be them who were there and did it. Was part of it. So if I'm sharing it to look at my part as well as their part. Yet to share somebody else's shit that they've done is, you have to go to court of law and prove it and all of that. It's a whole big process you have to go through when you've been victimized and you've been harmed by somebody's shit, their intent to hurt you. They did shit intentionally. And many family members, mine and many other scholars, I couldn't think of it. Well, at least one person I think of, and she happens to be a white woman, Jane Elliott, how she talks about how she was ostracized in her family. Many whites during the civil rights movement were also ostracized in their families because of their quote unquote political beliefs and or practices, right? And just like it happened on a broader scale, on a societal level, and even in our communities, because look, we can look at even today for black folks who are MAGA folks, black MAGA folks, the black community who are not MAGA, the non-MAGA blacks are going to ostracize those MAGA blacks. If you ostracize people, we ostracize, we disconnect, we throw them off when we disagree with the perspective that they bring, and or via jealousy, envy drives people to jealousy, because jealousy is different than envy or um what appraisal, or jealousy is like I I I wish I had what that person has, and because I don't have it, I'm going to then do this thing. I'm going to denigrate their name. I'm going to marginalize them. I'm going to talk about them to other people so that other people discount them because I don't have what they have. Because I see what they have and I want it. However, because I don't have it, I'm going to take it and turn it around and use it against that person. And at any rate, and that's what happened in my family. That's what happened to me. That's just the bottom line for me. My reality. That's my fucking reality. My family members, and I have to say this, because of this recent experience, and I realize, shit, when I make my transition, telling what these people going to tell people about me, it's just going to be a whole pack of lies. And the thing is, people, it's amazing because I just recognize how people believe what other people say about you versus what you say about you. You see, we listen to what other people say about a person versus what that person says about themselves. Because that person says what they say about themselves, we're programmed to say, oh, who they think they are. They got a big head. They think they this, they think they that. However, if 5 other people come to you and say this person is X, Y, and Z, it's like, oh, let me listen to them. It's just a seeming, I wonder what, there's probably a name for that shit. There's probably a name in the mental health field or out there in the world for that shit. I'm not sure what to call it. However, I'm aware of it. And it just kind of speaks to those who would talk about the abilities that you have, your salespeople, business people, how they sell you shit. Because look at what I did, and you can do it too. All you gotta have is and all you gotta have is a positive mindset and a blah blah blah. You can have all this shit. You can have a positive mindset. You can have the information. You can have the motivation. You can have the tools and the resources. But if you don't have if you have another person, if you don't have external resources, see, that's the difference between internal resources versus external resources, right? Without those external resources, which come in the form of other people who will promote and share and support, promoting and sharing what you're saying and what you're doing and who you are, it's really more challenging for you to do it all alone, so to speak, all alone. So at any rate, because I am alone in my life, so to speak, it's like important for me to share who I am, what my experiences have been, what I see has happened. I understand the dynamics of my family relationships. I understand the dynamics the dynamic processes that have taken place that has led us, my family, to where we are. And I'm not sure how I'm pretty sure many others share this experience because of the work I do. I listen to people's stories all the time, and I know that I'm not alone in this reality, right? However, many of our families, after the crack addiction or epidemic, the community is cracked up. Our communities are cracked up in a horrible way. The violence is off the charts. The young folks, the new generation has a whole different view, and certainly coming from my perspective, right? Now, maybe those 20 years younger than me, or even 30 or 40 years younger than me, may not see the changes probably in the same way because you haven't been on the planet as long as I have. Yet when you've been on the planet, I suppose after 50, 60 years, it's like, oh, now I remember what my parents, when they were saying, what they remember in their childhood and how different things was. It's like, oh, I see what they were talking about, but shit is different. Like, whoa, okay. Different for me in a way where there's the notion of a quote unquote black family and a strong black family gone. My family, the disconnects has happened. My mom, all of the elder women in my family have made their transition. I am the next elder in my family, female. I'm the current matriarch, however, very, very disrespected and disregarded at the same time. So, um, painful. It still touches a pain. It's a pain point, and at the same time, I'm have accepted it into full acceptance of it, and really just looking forward for myself as I'm moving forward here in 2025 to really be moving about the world free and uninhibited by family shit because of their beliefs about me, because of our inability to communicate in a healthy and effective way. That's the deal. And because of the level of disrespect and disregard that has taken place for me and my family, I can see why for this younger generation they would be so comfortable and easily disconnect, detach, throw you off, a cancel culture. They cancel your ass, and have no, the level of respect or regard, if you will, for elders. That notion in the black family, coming from where I'm from in the hood here, is just shot. It's not there in the communities. People don't help the senior citizens. There's no such thing. You on your own. And so that's the thing. So let me just take a few minutes and lay the foundation. My reason for doing this is just to be able to reclaim my voice and to share my story, what I know happened in my life versus what you may hear from others in my family who, are younger folks and still up and coming and doing their thing. At any rate. So I am. How long have we been? This thing don't tell me. It would be great if it tells me. I only want to keep it no more than 10 minutes. I probably talk too long. Yet I'll just go from here. I'm the middle of 5. I'm the third child of 5. As I wish I had my original genogram, because I've done those. There's a map of the family. I started doing those back when I began my PhD program back in the late 90s. And in so doing, that map of the family, I see how the connector that I am, and how I have been as a middle child, the ways of connection. I'm the only one who had. I was married twice, and both my husbands were military men. My father was a military man. My grandfather on that side was a military man. Nobody else in my siblings, no other siblings, was connected to military. I went in the military as well, and I went in the military, so I have that connection with my father. Other connections, low. That too much to say, too much to get into right now. However, I'm a very central figure. I am a very central figure. Like, wow, when I look at it and look at the connections. So my oldest sister, is there were 4 girls and a boy. My brother is the youngest. He's still alive. My 3 sisters have all made their transition. My oldest sister had 5 children, just like my mom. She had 4 girls and a boy. My second sister adopted a child. She adopted a child who was a daughter. Then there's me. So myself and my sister who adopted, we both grew up in a generation where Planned Parenthood were doing things like sterilizing us with IUDs, and we didn't know about this shit. But them IUDs, we became sterile. We were the 70s and 70s. So, my youngest sister, one under me, she had 1 daughter, she had 1 child, and my brother has 6 children, 3 by one woman, 3 by another. And so I'm the only one that has no children. And I was also the child, is the middle child. I'm also the child who historically, from childhood up, because my siblings, my mother is the oldest of her sibling group, and so we were the first set of grandchildren, and her sisters, they had children after, and those children, my cousins, we were in a position to babysit, well, at the age of 8 and 9, when the sisters, my mom and her sisters, would go out to do their thing. And the first kids together, it was pretty much myself and my sister, a year older than me, who were responsible for all of the kids, all of the cousins. And there were about 5 or 6 of them, plus four of us, 3 or 4 of us. My oldest sister, she was always already gone because she was a couple years older than us. So when my parents, the aunts and all of them got together, my sister and I, we were the babysitters, starting at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, those years. And I was always very good with children, with the kids, and the kids loved me and I loved them, and we always had a good time, and it was always, hey, Tony, and it was like that. And as growing older, and when I got into social work and social services and so forth, I worked first in play therapy as a play therapist. So I learned a lot about children. I'm very good with children, have always interacted with children in a way where they always felt comfortable with me and able to share shit with me that they couldn't share with their parents, because I have a way of talking to kids in a way that supported them with talking to me. And it was always a gift, I suppose, that I had, before I went to college, before I got into social work. So I'm gonna stop with that. So because it was during that period after, my growth and development in that way. I'll say this though. I will say this and close for today. It's the start of my storytelling. In this series, I'm not sure if I have a title for this series just yet, but I'll come up with it. When I was 17, I was graduating from high school at 17. I was accepted to college. I did a lot of work to get myself into college, and I had to do the work to get myself into college because my mom at that point drank alcoholically, and she was at the end of her stages of her alcoholism. By the time I turned 17 and left for college, she was at, her alcoholism was, she was hitting her bottom with the drinking. And so I did the work to get myself into college. I had to shake her awake and have her sign papers and shit for student loans, and I had to figure out and learn all of that. Anyway, that prom night, it was prom night, or shortly thereafter, I had a sexual encounter and I became pregnant. The summer before I was to leave to go to school. When my mom learned that I was pregnant, she did kind of just told me, you're getting an abortion. She took me to Dr. Green and, set the stage for, we're going to do an abortion because she wanted me to go to college. That is when I got accepted and was about to go and graduate in high school and had to get things together. She, like I said, she was at the end of her, she was at the end stages of her alcoholism. So she was like, it was hitting her, and she began to begin the process of recovery for herself. And I think she really wanted for me to go to college. I was always seen as and known as the smart one in the family. I was always the kid with a book in my hand, sitting on the step in the summertime reading Harlequins because they were sending them shit free. And so I'm always with a book. I like to read. I would find books, whatever books around the house, and all the books them adults had around the house, I read them too. And I was an AB student, but I was always naturally intellectually gifted. That was just me. My other siblings had their natural gifts. My oldest sister was a seamstress and a great artist. She was very artistic and creative in that regard. She had a shop. She had a store. She made clothes. I supported her shit. She had children. I had an abortion, and I went off to college. My older sister, I think she didn't want me to get an abortion, and she wanted to be able to talk with me, but she wasn't around. And by the time I guess she found out, it was already like a done deal. When she did come to the hospital, but I was already in the whole process of getting ready to have an abortion. So whatever she was talking about, I couldn't hear it really because I wanted to go to college. I was accepted to Cheney State, and I was getting ready to go to Cheney State College in a month to go live on campus and everything. I was getting the hell out the hood. I was going to college. So, yeah, I got the abortion. And I think my sister, she wanted me to keep the kid, but I didn't. And she went on to have children, and I didn't have children. I went on to get education. And that became a rift as our time went on. So I'm going to end with that for the night. I thank you for listening to me share, and I do plan to continue sharing my story and my experience with my family and recognizing all of this is about the effects of slavery and what has happened to us in our families, how we have been culturally, and what I typically say when I introduce myself and recognize that I am culturally enslaved. And understanding how the culture supports this behavior of competing with each other versus congratulating and supporting each other's gifts and building each other up, which is what we used to do, which is the dynamic message I took away from my childhood years, and it's one that was lost for us after the civil rights and after integration happened, I suppose. Yeah, because after integration happened, that's when this shit started. It was more competition with each other, and yeah, that's what happened. That's just what happened as I see it. It's like, dang, it's a shame. It hurts, and it's resulted in where things are for me now. And so for me, I accept it is what it is. It's very painful, and I've attempted, I've attempted to work with my family, my nieces, and I understand they're not really interested in the relationship with me. So, um, I'll say more, probably more will come up in my next video, and this is a video series, and I'm gonna dive deeper into the incident that happened in closing, that I learned, in the closing of 2024. And as I'm moving, and as we're moving into this age of Aquarius, this full Aquarius energy and time period of revelation and change, it's time. So I'll be diving deeper into some of those dynamics and how those effects of slavery shows up in our relationships with each other, and or our inability to relate. And I can't even say it's really an inability to relate, because there are other things that I've just come away with understanding and knowing. And I want to get into that. So, let me know what you think, and what experiences are you having. Any other folks being fully disconnected from family? It's like, I'm at a point where it's like a total, I'm signing off from you. Total disconnect. And being kind of okay with that, and allowing myself to be free with that, and kind of look with excitement even, of caring for myself and taking care of myself at this end stage of the game for me. For however much longer I have here on the planet. It could be another 20 years. It could be another 2 days. Who knows yet? Just for today, I'm okay with me, and I'm in the F mode with family. It's the 3 Fs: F them, fix them, and forgive them. Fuck them, fix them, forgive them. And just for today, is the F mode. Okay. At the same time, I forgive them, and the fixing them, that part I'm letting go of. Even though Jawanzo Kanjufo gave you that mandate a while back. Fix family first, so to speak. It's all about the family. Focus on family first and fix family first. And I've done what I can. I attempted to do that, and it was not welcome. And so I'm like, okay, let me step it off. But the way that child talked to me and what she said, no, we're not gonna leave that like that. No. So that's all I got to say. Thanks so much for listening to me share. Please share your stories, and let me know who else is having similar experiences out here in the world. In the meantime, stay safe.